Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, and I'm feeling so good. The fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River run free, you know how I feel. Blossom down the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new day, it's a new dawn, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Sleep in peace when the day is done, that's what I need. And so sad, you know how I feel. Sad, such a life. You know how I feel. Freedom is mine when you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life, and I'm feeling good.
So good morning, everyone. That is not George Michael, but that's my boss, Bob Rivers, the chairman and CEO of Eastern Bank, and that's how we introduced the brand campaign back in March to over 1,000 colleagues, community friends, and customers back at the BCEC on March 7th. So how bad can it be when you work for someone who's not afraid to put on a faith jacket and come out in front of all those people? It's pretty cool. So thank you so much for being here this morning. I'm here to talk about Eastern Bank, obviously, and talk to you about a bicentennial story of doing good. Next year, Eastern will celebrate its 200th anniversary. Bank began in 1818, so we'll be 200 years old on April 15th of next year. And it was in 1818 that a group of wealthy philanthropists in Salem, Massachusetts, a group that included the likes of Dr. Edward Augustus Holyoake, founder of the Massachusetts Medical Society, and several other prominent people of the day. They got together, and it was a time in our country's history where there wasn't a banking system or even a national currency. So what people had to do, if you were a wealthy ship merchant, of course you had a place to put your money. But if you didn't, or if you weren't, everyone else was left to store their cash under a mattress or somewhere on their property. This group recognized that this was not only not right from a social justice perspective, it wasn't smart. It wasn't smart either. Because after all, how would this young country grow without a freer and greater flow of capital for people to buy homes and start businesses and make their lives better? So they put their money together and they formed what's called the Institution for Savings. They were the third mutual bank in the country. And the bank was open, get this, from noon to 1 o'clock on a Wednesday. So officially the first banker's hours. And they offered a savings account with a 5% interest rate. Yeah, exactly. We may never see that again. And they staffed the bank themselves. So they asked people who came in and frequented the bank to also volunteer so that they could expand their hours and serve more people. So this basic principle, being right, doing the right thing, and doing the smart thing, is the core of Eastern Bank's mission today. Not only by offering people access to what we call fairly priced financial services, but more importantly, through the spirit of social justice and the pursuit of equal opportunity for all. And as a result, Eastern Bank has a culture that's rooted from the very beginning in community service, demonstrated by more than 50,000 hours that Eastern bankers donate to the community. 50,000. It's a number more than 10 times the per capita average of Greater Boston companies. And since 1999, we've supported this spirit of volunteerism by giving an average of 10% of our net profits to charity. So the tithing principle. And that number has totaled more than $100 million since 1999. So it's a 200-year-old institution with a 2-decade dedication to giving back to the community in a significant way. And we reach, this year it'll be over 1,600 organizations and nonprofits in the greater Boston area. So the relationships we've built, the knowledge we've gained, the guidance and encouragement we've received from so many, and so many of the folks in this room are included in that, they've led us in recent years to become advocates ourselves. And we're joining in the fight for equal opportunity, expanding our mission, and working on causes that I'll cover over the next few minutes. Small business is one of them. 10 years ago, the greatest financial crisis of our lifetimes. Since then, Eastern has doubled down on the commitment to small businesses. They're the most important generators of jobs, of wealth in our communities, and we've become the largest SBA lender in New England for the past 7 years, and one of the top 10 in the whole United States for the past 4. So we think business is good. Business is good. It creates jobs. It creates wealth in our communities. And additionally, this year, 2017, we announced what's called the Business Equity Initiative. And this is a 3-year initiative where Eastern, alongside the Boston Foundation and the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce, is investing $10 million to help Black and Latino businesses get from level 1 to flourish in our communities. If you've seen the Spotlight article from the Boston Globe this week, one of the stats that they quoted was Boston is #1 in terms of wealth disparity between Caucasian communities and communities of color. And this initiative is designed specifically to help businesses move from that first level to scale and beyond. So the initiative is going to bring capital. It's also going to provide consulting to these businesses to help them get to the next level. And it's also going to create demand, working with the Chamber of Commerce, so that other organizations in Greater Boston are petitioning and asking for services from these communities. So we're very excited about this. We hope that this is an example of a step that makes a true difference. But the proof will obviously be in the pudding. This is not a new idea, but our hope is that the focus on all 3 areas, on capital, on consulting, and on creating demand or capacity, those things done together will create a different and better outcome than what's happened in the past. Nonprofits. So the spirit of the nonprofit community is embedded in our DNA. In fact, Eastern was a nonprofit itself until 1952. And we constantly look to foster this kinship not only through community service, through philanthropy, but we do a lot of community development lending. We give hundreds of millions of dollars to organizations like Bagley, like Pine Street Inn, like the Lowell Community Health Center, to help these organizations grow and to flourish. So nonprofits are a core element of what we do. We have expertise in those areas. Solar lending is another example. So we're very proud of that, and I think it's an expertise that's not shared by all banks in the area. Another group is emerging communities. These are communities that are not only growing in number, like communities of color and immigrants, but those that are growing in voice, like the LGBTQ community, and also women. So Eastern was the first company, the first, to sign the amicus brief that was forwarded by GLAAD, challenging DOMA. And that ultimately led to marriage equality in our nation. And what impressed me the most as I came to Eastern 2 years ago was that I found out that there were 3 companies that led the lobbying effort for the passage of the transgender rights bill in Massachusetts. One of them was Harvard Pilgrim, the second was Google, and the third was Eastern Bank. So this was a bank that was really leaning in, doing what I would call outspoken advocacy, and pretty profound, not just for a bank, but for a business in general. So most recently, we've also been advocating for transgender rights, for DACA, and I'll talk a little bit more about some of our plans for the future as we get to the end. Gateway cities. What are gateway cities? So there are 26 cities in Massachusetts affected by economic changes across our lifetimes. We're in 12 of those cities. So about 10 years ago, we stopped opening branches in areas that didn't need us and started opening branches in places that did. Places like Chelsea. We were the first bank branch in over a decade in Chelsea. Lawrence, we were the first branch there in over 23 years. We opened a new micro branch in Revere earlier this year in September. And next year, probably March or April, we're going to open up a bank branch in Roxbury Crossing. And that will be the first branch that's opened in that market in 2 decades. So once again, it's about being smart and doing the right thing, being right and smart. A couple of other areas, the environment. This one I wanted to share with you because while the others might have been driven top down from senior management, our interest in and support for the environment was initiated by a group of passionately dedicated employees. They knew we could do much better in terms of our carbon footprint, and so they're one of our 10 employee resource groups at Eastern. Another one of those 10 are military veterans. So these are either veterans themselves or they have family members who are serving to protect our country. And if you follow us on Twitter or Instagram, you'll see that just yesterday we tweeted out in support of the fact that transgender individuals will be able to serve in the military and volunteer starting January 1 in defiance of the transgender veterans ban. So in all of these efforts and others, our goal is to influence other companies, to influence individuals like yourselves, to join us because it's the smart thing to do and the right thing to do. And when we do good, we all do well. So let's talk about the marketing. What does this have to do with the marketing? Well, the bicentennial is an opportunity to honor this unique and esteemed past and those who've come before us to make Eastern the company it is today, but importantly, it's also a chance for us to rededicate ourselves to this purpose, our reason for being, the essence of who we are, what we do, and why we do it. And that, simply put, is to do good things to help people prosper. So one of the blessings of launching this campaign was able to spend literally almost a year with one of my colleagues, Tracy Stokes. We made close to 40 presentations across Eastern Bank to our colleagues. And there were only 2 things we asked them to remember from all the stuff that we said. Our purpose statement, we do good things to help people prosper, and our selling line, join us for good. So to get into the marketing speak of this, we're focused on 3 segments. We're focused on planners, we're focused on community-minded, and we're focused on guarded traditionalists. These are individuals who are most open to the idea of doing business with a bank that does good things in the community. So we're not going to attract, obviously, everyone. If you want the greatest bells or the best bells and widgets, you may not come to Eastern. But if you're interested in a company that's doing good things, take a look at us. And we have 3 success goals. Simply put, we want to build brand resonance, we want to drive profitable growth, who doesn't? And we want to foster employee engagement. So build brand resonance, drive profitable growth, foster employee engagement. And how did we get at this? So we have amazing partners. They're here in the room. Our creative partner, Conover Total Pace, CTP, what they did was they went out into the community and they talked to some individuals in and around Boston, and they asked them some simple questions. What does it mean to do good? What gets in the way? How can we do better? So I want to show you a couple of those videos to sort of set the stage for how we developed the campaign. So let's take a look.
What does it mean to do good?
That's a loaded question. To do good?
To do good?
I don't know. That's hard to answer, kind of.
What does to do good mean? It means to help others and to do what you think is right.
I guess it's to do something that is beneficial for somebody else, but not necessarily for you. Like you don't have any skin in the game. You just do something because it can benefit somebody else.
As a mother, it's to set an example.
Just warm and welcoming no matter what.
The non-selfless attitude. I think people are all about themselves sometimes, and we need to expand. We need to rethink our structure in society. It's all about money. It's really all about people.
There's something happening.
Give back to your community, to serve the community, to be involved with the community.
If you don't have a lot of time, there's still a way you can help somebody, whether it's financially or emotionally or even just smiling. I don't know.
Everyone should support everyone else on what everyone's trying to achieve. Everyone has their dreams and their creative vision in their head, whether it be like being a nurse or being a doctor. Whatever you want to do, like people should help each other be able to figure out how to do that.
Try to leave something better in the world than when you came in.
Making sure that the poor people can have hospitals they can go to and get well.
Working together as a community instead of working against one another.
Just not being so self-absorbed. Not that everybody is, but I feel like a lot of people, especially our generation, has become like all about selfies and like all about me. And I don't know, I think it's awesome to really just listen to other people, and I feel like that makes a person very like well-rounded, and just wanting to like learn more about different cultures and different people is nice.
Being able to respect somebody's individuality, even if it's different from your own, and then being able to come together for a greater good eventually.
There's something happening.
So the two young women at the end were my favorites because Evil and I are parents to two millennial kids, and so it's all about selfies, it's all about me. That kind of resonated. But the feedback that we received from those videos, and a number of other things, people within Eastern Bank who told us over and over again what this bank stands for and why they're proud to be part of it. That's what generated the campaign. So what I want to do is show you the first 90-second ad that led the campaign and led to the other work that we've done. So here it is.
There's something happening. You can see it on the streets of Lawrence, hear it on a playground in Brockton, and feel it from the White Mountains to the tip of the Cape. It's purposeful. It's inspiring. It's opening doors and opening hearts. It knows the value of money and the price of freedom. It's this, the simple idea that good is more than something you are. It's something you do. From investing in communities hungry for growth, lending to small businesses fueled by a dream, and supporting causes inspired by love, Eastern Bank is here to do good, to do right, to do more, to help all of us do better. So join us.
for her, for them. Join us for today and tomorrow. Join us for good.
Anybody recognize the music? Who is it? Ooh, I gave it away. So. Oops. So it's great doing the presentation like with the big speakers because I can actually like jam to the music. It's much better than when I hear it on my TV. But yeah, it's the Who and Join Together, and so people will tell you like it's my ringtone now. So I'm a little bit obsessed about this, but I'll get over it, or maybe not. So join us for good. That's the tagline, that's our mantra, that's the movement. We're crazy enough to think that we might be able to ignite a movement behind doing good and encourage others, including those of you in this room, to join us throughout our communities. And over the past few months, I hope you've seen on social media, on TV, billboards, online, these messages, and perhaps in some places that you might not have expected it. And is it working? I'm glad you asked. We think it is. We launched in March, so you could argue that it's still early days, but we did brand tracker research back in February before we launched the campaign. We did our second wave of brand tracker research in June, and what we saw was a significant increase in overall awareness, post versus pre, versus our smaller bank competitors and the larger girls and boys in our category. So we're encouraged about the brand health results so far. We also worked with our good partners at Cone on a terrific promotion that they executed in an excellent way. It was called Selfies for Good. We actually stood in the cold in front of the Back Bay station and we gave out $5 bills. And we said, please pay this forward. Please do something good with it. And you would not believe the number of people who said, pox on your house. Like, I don't give, no, I don't. I had to say, like, it's money, it's real money, really, look at it, it's green, it spins. But enough people did. We got over 500, close to 500 entries into this contest to win $200 by paying it forward. And a bank trended twice on Twitter. Say that fast 3 times. During that first week, the first time was during that launch party with the George Michael jacket, and the second time was during this promotion. So it really was a powerful start working with people like Doug Flutie, and you'll see Keytar Bear and the Boston Yeti, and yeah, we had a real cast of characters. But net sentiment increased from 33% to 65%. Now, you might ask, what's the feedback been? Like, is everybody on the Eastern Bank bandwagon? Well, I will tell you that most of the feedback, 80% of it, has been very, very positive, internally and externally. People have sent us things like, most banks do precious little to show their good guy side. If you live in the Boston area, you should check out Eastern Bank. So we feel great about that. And then our human resources partners have also told us, as people have come in and given sort of examples about why they became interested in Eastern Bank, people are talking about the campaign as one reason why they're interested in coming to Eastern. So as I think you would imagine, it's a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now we have to deliver on the promise. But we're very, very pleased with these results. On the flip side, not all the feedback has been positive. About 20% of it has been negative. People have said, stop the liberal pandering stuff. Be a bank. Don't be political. I'm not down with your support for LGBTQ. That's against my religion, or I'm just not supportive of that. And we're okay with that. We're okay with that. We're not going to please everyone. We know that. And importantly, my board knows that, and my boss knows that, and my peers know that, and my colleagues know that. They know they can both express themselves if they disagree, but they know that as an organization, we're supportive of these causes. And with that support comes the ability to do this and do this consistently. So we're doubling down, and you'll see more support of more issues from us in the future. But as important, or perhaps even more important, as I think about my coworkers, we asked a specific question in our Best Places to Work survey. That's what we use to measure employee engagement. And we asked 2 additional questions. Does the campaign make you feel proud to be an Eastern employee? Is it consistent with your experience at the bank? And to those 2 questions, over 70% of my peers said they agreed or strongly agreed that the campaign makes them proud to be an employee and the campaign is consistent with their experience at the bank. So we're going to keep measuring this and measuring it because this is as important as the business results and the brand tracker scores. And it's appealing to more people. So back in September, we're expanding what we're calling our Partners for Good. Danielle Criscolo, who's here on my team, is heading up this part of the effort. We have Doug Flutie as a partner. We've reached out to the Life is Good apparel brand as a partner, a company that also gives 10% of their profits to charity. And most recently, David Ortiz has come on as a partner for good. So we are over the moon about this partnership and happy that we'll be able to say in the new year that Eastern Bank is the official New England bank of Big Papi. So when you join Eastern, why are we able to do this? A lot of it is because we're a mutual bank. So we don't answer to Wall Street. We're not a public company. We can plan for the longer term, and that allows us to give 10% of our profits to charity, while still we're going to have a record year this year. So you can both do good and do well. But what you may not know about Eastern is every year we also do an additional 20%. So we give $7 million to charity, and then we carve out an additional 20%, or $1.5 million roughly, to a specific area of focus in our communities. And this year, that focus has been on supporting immigrants. We've given $1.5 million to close to 100 organizations that support immigrants in our community in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Rhode Island. And they support things like this: assistance for people seeking asylum, citizenship classes, aid for separated families, ESOL, ABE classes, translations, culturally competent services. So we didn't know necessarily how this year was going to play out the way that it did, but we've gotten so much support about our willingness to support immigrants in our communities and our investment in these areas. This isn't going to stop this year, but it was a particular point of focus for Eastern Bank. And what we do every year is that in October, we bring all of our nonprofits partners together for a celebration of social justice, and we honor an icon in the community. This year it was Chow Ming Lee, who recently passed away but was head of the Asian American Cultural Association. So we're trying to walk the talk and display with our actions, not just the rhetoric, our support for causes in and outside of Boston. Next year, our focus is going to be on advancing women. And we're going to focus on areas like equal pay, women on boards, and women in senior management positions. And I'm sure there will be other important issues that we need to talk about. So as I wrap up and open up for questions, what I'd like to do is certainly thank my agency partners who are here. I think from CTP, Havas, Cone, and new partners from maybe AMP or Skyward. If you're here in the audience, would you please stand? fantastic. And I would also like to, my team, many members of my team are here, so I get to blab on, but they're the ones who did the hard work. So if my teammates are here, would you please stand? You could buy them a drink outside too. That'd be great. And then obviously, Kathy mentioned it, but I also want to thank my best friend and the love of my life, and my wife for 30 years, who's here with me today. So I won't ask her to stand because she'll kill me. But I did definitely want to acknowledge her. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Thank you so much for your attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions.